3 things that if people simply cut out of their diet would resolve 90% of people's nutrition problems. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I thought I would chat with you guys and gals briefly about this today. All right, these things really should be no-brainers, because every time you see any successful fad diet or any of these things that people do, have you noticed they almost always reduce or cut out at least one of these things? Like without fail, every single time, all these different successful diets. And then people are like, oh, I feel so much better, I got all these results. It's like, no, because mainly just because you ate more whole foods and you cut at least 2 of these 3 things out of your diet. That is literally enough for most people to see fantastic results. But instead of doing the fad diets, if people simply said, hey, you know, what are the things that they eliminate? These problems kind of go away. But then, you know, the problem is so many people, oh, that's too restrictive. But it's not restrictive. Like, you don't have to eat a bunch of table sugar and butter and vodka to be happy. Hey, but let's talk about that for a minute. What are they? Refined sugars, refined fats, and alcohol. Okay, that's it. Like, if most people simply remove those things from their diet, people who are struggling with weight loss, fat loss, diabetes, all these other things, if you just stopped eating those 3 things and just focused on other foods, even if they're other refined foods to some extent, like those are their big ones. Okay? Like literally, you don't even have to cut out all refined foods for most people to get good results. Now, are you going to be shredded? Are you going to have the absolute pinnacle of health? No, not necessarily. But you're going to not have the problems the average American has. Okay? And I'll go so far as to say that if those 3 things were simply eliminated, there wouldn't even be an obesity problem. I mean, realistically speaking, if we did not even have access to refined sugars, refined fats, or alcohol, if they literally didn't exist, the entire obesity crisis would completely disappear. There would only be a tiny number of obese people, like morbidly obese people, anywhere in our country. It'd be it'd be maybe 1%. Because, I mean, it's possible to do it on other foods. You know, it's just way, way, way harder. So what do we mean by refined sugars? I'm talking table sugar, high fructose corn syrup. And I place them in the same category. I really get frustrated when people try to pretend like, oh, high fructose corn syrup is way worse than table sugar. And then when you say, no, it's not, they're like, why are you defending it? I'm like, I'm not. I'm saying they're equally bad. Equally bad. Equally problematic. Yes, sucrose, table sugar, has slightly less refined fructose, slightly less, but it's also less sweet. So to get the same sweetness, you're going to consume more of it. So where are we at? See what I'm saying here? Still on a quantitative issue, you're not going to reduce your total fructose load. In fact, it could end up being higher for the same amount of sweet factor. So it's not really better, and the issue is still the refined free-form fructose. That's the problem. That is why we don't want either one. It's not the insulin response. It's the fructose hitting the upper intestine, ready to absorb in an already digested and broken down form. That's why they're a problem. You don't want all that fructose hitting your bloodstream. You want to keep it in your gut, where your gut flora can ferment it. And it just doesn't happen with refined sugars. It gets absorbed too quick. So that's our problem. Okay, right there, right off the bat, big one. In terms of insulin resistance, elevated triglycerides, fatty liver, all this stuff, right? It's problematic. Right behind it, refined fats. And when I say refined fats, I'll say some are worse than others. I harp on butter, and I don't understand why people defend it. It's way up there. Arguably, now that margarines with trans fats are illegal, I'm going to say butter is now your biggest problem. Now, when I say that, people are like, why are you defending seed oils? I'm not defending seed oils. I just told you not to eat a bunch of refined fats. Kind of see where I'm going? It's kind of like if someone says cocaine and heroin are both bad, but heroin is worse. You don't go, why are you defending cocaine? I just told you they're both bad. I'm not defending it. I don't think seed oils are that bad. However, what are they? They're empty fat calories. So any way you break that down, do you kind of see where I'm going with that? We could argue some seed oils actually have some good health benefits, anti-inflammatory properties. Problem is, it's a bunch of calorie-dense fat. It's a bunch of liquid fat. If you care about your body weight and body fat, unless you are an athlete who burns ridiculous amounts of calories, that's probably not a good idea. I'm just saying, some common sense here, people. Right? Good way to gain body fat, if you're not careful. Is butter worse? Yeah, I think butter is arguably worse. I think there's a larger negative to, and again, this documented in the lab. And we're not talking about milk fat, we're talking specifically butter that's been isolated as heavy cream, completely chopped out of the milk and then churned and all this. Okay, it's emulsified through this process. It's absorbed faster because it's pre-digested. And heavy cream is already refined in that it has all the good stuff from milk removed. And we're taking all the great stuff in milk that is beneficial to us and just taking 95 to 99% of it out. And then we're just left with the fat. Okay. Butter, you take it a step further and let's refine it. Right? People say, but it's a mild refinement. It doesn't matter. You're pre-digesting it. You're absorbing it even faster now after stripping it of the valuable stuff. There's problems with this. We see it in the blood work. We see it in the data. Right? Quit eating a bunch of refined fats. Quit adding oils and butter to everything. Problem solved. You don't need it. Alcohol, biggest one. World Health Organization, all these other researchers, doctors say, look, it's bad for you even in low doses. Even when you compare and look at the analysis of these few studies here and there that show a minor benefit to some type of alcohol somewhere in moderation, it doesn't offset the negatives of the alcohol. Okay? It doesn't offset the negatives. The data and all the experts agree it's bad for you. Bad in a lot of ways, toxic to the body, it's going to enhance body fat. That's before we get into all the other problems. We're just talking about the health side, fitness side. Okay? And it's absolutely heavily refined. It's a poison that we make through fermentation. The reason you get a buzz from it is because it's a poison. It's a poisonous effect impacting your brain, by the way. For those who are unaware as to why you get drunk on it, it's because the poison is making you woozy and causing this effect in your brain. Right, these are your three big ones. If you just cut these things out of your diet, I'm not even talking about modern them, just get rid of them. Don't buy foods in a minute. Most people would be very happy with their results. Right? They would be leaner, fitter, obesity to go away, half these health problems to go away. That's without even eating a truly clean, healthy diet, a balanced diet, without exercising, all the other stuff we really should be doing. Okay? These are your three biggest problems. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.